So I did my part, Elvis did his show, and we were lucky. Great talent, and we had a great show and a lot of fun.
A lot has been said about the Colonel and Elvis's relationship through the years, but I have a letter from Elvis, a telex sent to Colonel Tom Parker, and I'm going to read it. It says, "Dear Colonel, once again you have proved yourself to be the #1 potentate of all times. Thank you again for the new contract with MGM. Sincerely, Elvis Presley." That was January 27th, 1966. I know Elvis was getting frustrated doing all of those films, but he did demonstrate his appreciation for Colonel Tom's efforts in really skyrocketing him to fame. So I want to get into this video about Colonel Tom Parker's house and offices. It was a compound in Madison, Tennessee. Let's get into that story. Most people driving through Madison, Tennessee today have no idea that one of the most important places in Elvis Presley's career used to stand right there and now is completely gone. This was Colonel Tom Parker's home and office located at 1215 Gallatin Pike South. But what most people don't realize is that this wasn't just a single house, it was a full compound. There were 3 structures on that property, the main stone house and 2 additional buildings behind it. Those back buildings were not just storage or secondary space. They were actively used as part of Elvis's business operations. One of those buildings served as part of the Elvis Presley fan club and publicity operation. This is where fan mail was handled, where responses were organized, and where the day-to-day machinery behind Elvis's career was running. This wasn't symbolic, this was functional. This was where things actually happened. Inside the main house, you had mid-century interiors, knotty pine walls, and a private space where Elvis would stay when he was in Nashville recording at RCA Studio B. It was one of the few places outside of Graceland where he could exist with some level of privacy. I went there in 2017 because I had heard that the property might be demolished, and I honestly didn't think I was going to make it in time, but I did. When I got there, the entire property was surrounded by chain link fencing. There was a man standing out there, not a formal security guard, just someone watching the property. We couldn't get in, and we couldn't go see the back buildings. We couldn't walk up to the house. But I saw it, and I knew this might be the last time anyone would. And what's even more striking is what was revealed during the demolition process. When they uprooted a large tree in the back of the property, it exposed what appeared to be a pond structure behind the house. There have been long-standing accounts that Elvis spent time in the back of the property, and this may have been part of that environment where he would feed the koi fish in the koi pond. Today, it's one more detail that's been uncovered and then lost again. Not long after that, in 2017, the entire compound was demolished, not just the house, all 3 structures gone. The property has been on the market for years without a buyer, and eventually developers purchased it and cleared the land. And today, the entire place of history is now a car wash. Now, I understand that cities grow and land gets redeveloped, but this wasn't just another building. This was a documented location tied directly to Elvis Presley's life and career. This is where decisions were made, where operations ran, where he actually stayed, and where he existed behind the scenes. And once a place like that is gone, you don't get it back. I'm super grateful I got to see it, even from behind a fence, even for just a moment, because now it's no longer a place you can visit. It's only something you can remember. That was frustrating, not being able to get on the grounds, but it was pretty much stripped of everything. We did want to walk the grounds. We were unable to do that, but I am grateful I did at least get to see the structure before it became the rock and roll car wash. I mean, really? Anyways, before I go today, don't forget Saturdays are Elvis content over here on my channel. Wednesday is heritage. If you like history and fashion and other types of pop culture, Marilyn Monroe, things like that, you'll find that on Wednesdays. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with a snippet from an ABC News interview with Colonel Tom Parker. Ted Koppel asked him a few questions about his relationship with Elvis Presley, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.
In this day and age, in the 1980s, it would be unthinkable that a star of Elvis Presley's magnitude would not end up on the Johnny Carson show, on the Merv Griffin show, on half the talk shows around the country. You deliberately kept him back a little bit from that kind of exposure. Why did you do that?
Well, I like to correct you. I kept him back, but I didn't do it deliberately. I found out some of my friends, they had artists. They put them on all the shows, talk shows, for free, and they had a hard time getting a job after that.
So you thought it was just a bad, that it was bad promotion, even though it got someone very well known, that it ultimately didn't work out for the best?
Well, I felt it was good for us not to go on, although all these fellas were good friends of mine. But when you go on these shows, most of the time they book people when they're big stars, so they don't hurt them too much. But we were starting out.
Conceded, Colonel Parker, and to those who don't know it, let's tell them right now that Elvis's success was part Elvis, part Colonel Parker. Which part was yours? Because that was the less visible part.
I think mine was the least part.
But explain it to me. What was it? What did you do for him to help bring him to the public's attention?
I did all the promotion, the outdoor advertising, and he did the show on the stage, and the fans made it possible. You could promote all you want to, but if the people don't want to buy a ticket, it doesn't help. So I did my part, Elvis did his show, and we were lucky. Great talent, and we had a great show and a lot of fun. And we had a great relationship, but I took care of mine, he took care of his, and he didn't let anybody tell him what to do. Never was involved with what songs he was going to record. Very seldom I was ever in the studio. He picked his own songs with the songwriters, whatever they were, and he never asked me, should I do this or that? It was up to him. He liked it that way. The only song that I was able to have him record, because I thought it was good for him, was Are You Lonesome Tonight? That's the only one.